Good morning, everyone. We have a quorum. Welcome to the Children's Commission. I want to take just a very quick moment and welcome Mark Fairchild officially as our new executive. Grateful to have you. And I want to just take one more moment and welcome the new judge at Court of Appeals, Ken Worthy. Welcome. And would you like to introduce yourself just a teeny tiny bit? It's up to you.
I know many of you in the room, but for those of you who don't know, I came from the trial bench serving on a court with juvenile jurisdiction. So kids and families have been part of my life for 13 years on the bench and 10 years before that as a deputy prosecutor. And my husband and I were also foster parents. So for a very long time, kids and families have meant a lot to us. It's my passion and this is my dream committee. So I'm very happy to be here. I do have to leave today at 11:15, but you all have my permission to volunteer me for whatever you need after that time.
It's NWRTHY, right? Thank you so much and welcome. And I appreciate your heart for foster care. I also was a foster mom. So it takes a deep heart and strong skin. We're going to start out with the minutes from February. You should all have a copy of that. And can I get a motion? All in second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We are currently running ahead of schedule and we like it that way. And so we're going to start with our strategic priority, children and health and safety. Dr. Jack Turman. Are you ready to present?
Ready.
You have the floor. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. And thanks for inviting me to present about this exciting work we're doing to bring housing equity for infant health in Indiana. Hold on one second. So I'm really fortunate to be here to speak on behalf of my team. That was really fortunate to receive one of 9 HRSA grants last year to bring innovative systems change to advance health equity for infant health. So we put forth a proposal called Housing Equity for Infant Health, which I'm going to talk to you briefly about today. So let's just, you all know all of this already, but from a maternal and child health researcher who does systems change work, let me just remind you why it's really important. Why are we so concerned about infant and maternal mortality, other than, of course, the obvious like suffering and tragedy that is infant and maternal mortality? But we're really interested in it because remember that infant and maternal mortality are key indicators of population health. It is a key indicator of social well-being. So when we see high infant and maternal mortality rates being persistent, we want to understand what are the underlying social issues that are driving that. And we know from around the world, I'm fortunate to do work all around the world in this, that to sustainably improve infant and maternal mortality, it's really essential that we not only address the vital health and social service issues, but we address the social and economic issues that lie at the root of infant and maternal mortality. I'm sure you're all aware of this famous CDC data that the greatest determinant of population health is actually one's zip code, so to speak. You know, there's social and environmental conditions that surround them. And so it's really important that we take active interventions and steps to address those social issues in our state. So you all are very familiar with the social determinants of health, and I'm going to talk directly about the one that we really focus on in our initiative, and that's the neighborhood and the built environment. As some of you know, I'm the founder and the director of the Grassroots Maternal and Child Health Initiative across Indiana. And the point about our work is that our work started by training grassroots maternal and child health leaders across the state that work as systems change agents. These aren't community health workers. These are women in community, in marginalized communities that work to elevate the social economic issues of their communities that lie at the heart of poor maternal and child health outcomes. So we start all of our work with the stories and the testimonies of the women. And so here's a testimony that really prompted so much of the work we do in housing. This was one of our grassroots leaders, Letitia, who was pregnant and homeless and working full-time and struggled to maintain safe, secure, affordable housing. And as she says, and she got published as an op-ed piece in Northwest Indiana Times. And like, it's a scary thing to be out there pregnant and homeless. Indiana has a real housing issue, as many of you know. 3 of our cities are in the top 20 for evictions. Indianapolis is 14th, Fort Wayne is 13th, and now South Bend has entered the ranks in the top 20. Indianapolis ranks second only to New York City for the sheer number of evictions. When we put together the HRSA grant, we came up with this hypothesis that pregnant women living in housing instability or poor quality conditions, 2 very important issues, experience a toxic stress, which we know is a trigger for increased risk for poor birth outcomes. The women of the Grassroots Initiative have been telling me for 5 years, Jack, we got to deal with housing. The #1 issue that they relate to me about the cause of poor maternal and child health in our state is the lack of safe, secure, affordable housing. This has been a persistent message. And I have to say the women are spot on in their assessment. That great work has come out from the American College of OBGYN, AAP, and the Eviction Lab at Princeton. And, really showing that housing stability during pregnancy results in all of these poor outcomes that you see here on this slide. And now the risk of a poor pregnancy with poor housing is equal in the United States to smoking during pregnancy. So it is time that we really address with an intervention. We know from Matthew Desmond's work that eviction in and of itself also relates to poorer birth outcomes, with the strongest effects being in the 2nd and 3rd trimester of pregnancy. Here is some maps just to show you in Marion County. These zip codes are zip codes that have persistently high infant mortality rates. You see here these locations of these zip codes. And then here you see overlaid in a way the evictions in these zip codes. And you see the eviction filing rate is much higher in Marion County than it is for the state in general. And it disproportionately affects, we know, women in minoritized communities. We know too that homelessness in and of itself is a pregnancy complication. They're much more likely to experience complications during pregnancy and experience a maternal hemorrhage and preterm birth. And just so you have a sense, homelessness and pregnancy in Indianapolis is that in between 2017 and 2021, more than 250 women annually were pregnant women and women parenting infants were homeless in Marion County. And this number, my friends, is a conservative estimate because the housing database does not count women that are living in domestic violence shelters, and it doesn't count women who aren't reporting with this. Does that make sense? That are not necessarily, that might be living in cars, that might be couch surfing, things like that, because they don't want to express themselves to systems for fear of losing their children. We know in Marion County, for instance, in 2020, that 78 of the infant deaths reviewed by our FEMR had more than half housing-related stressors related to the infant outcome. So while there is, I just went through that very quickly, while there's lots of data that links poor housing to infant mortality, there's been few interventions designed to address this. So we put together for HRSA what's called the Housing Equity for Infant Health Initiative. And in this initiative, we have 2 distinct interventions in our initiative. One is the Healthy Beginnings at Home intervention that I'm going to talk to you about briefly. And we added what's called the Health Justice intervention. So I'm so glad to have a member of the justice system here because they've been very wonderful collaborators and partners with us in this. So, and together this makes up the Housing Equity for Infant Health Initiative. So let me tell you something about this. First, let's talk about Healthy Beginnings at Home. And I have really exciting news to announce to you all today, literally today, to add to this. Healthy Beginnings at Home was launched in our neighbor state, Ohio. It has never been done in any place other than Ohio and now Indiana. It was developed out of CareSource Medicaid as an intervention to reduce infant mortality and poor birth outcomes. Ohio rolled it out beginning in 2018. And they reached out to me, CareSource reached out to me over a year ago to see whether I would be the lead agency in trying to bring Healthy Beginnings at Home to the state of Indiana. Because of the great outcomes that they had in Ohio, which I'm going to share to you. And we were very blessed, as I said, last year to get awarded by HRSA to bring this awesome intervention to Indiana. Good news for all Ohio moms, as we just learned, the Ohio's, because of the great success of this intervention, the Ohio governor just allocated $15 million in the state budget to grow Healthy Beginnings at Home across the state of Ohio. So, because this will be significantly continue Ohio's significant effort to reduce infant mortality for their state. What is Healthy Beginnings at Home? Here we go. Healthy Beginnings at Home has 3 intervention components to it. We provide housing navigation services for pregnant women in their first or second trimester that are housing insecure. In Indiana, that's being done by Our Door. It used to be Merchants Affordable Housing, that they changed their name. So they help us identify the housing for the women. We then provide rental assistance for the women. They get 24 months of rental assistance, 15 months of complete rental assistance, and 9 months of step-down rental assistance with help with utilities, et cetera, things like that. Very importantly, we provide comprehensive wraparound services for the women. They have comprehensive case management along their journey. I circled rental assistance here because, and I'm so glad Dr. Box is here and that Kate is here, because in Indiana, we do have a struggle that our buddies in Ohio don't have. In Ohio, the Ohio government has allocated money for the rental assistance here. And here, we've had some issues with that. Dr. Box and Kate have been really helpful with IDOH providing money to help us support the rental assistance for the moms. And as has CareSource Foundation, as has Burge and Held Housing. But I'll probably be bothering you for 2 years, as more years, because we're going to need more money to support this part of the intervention. We have extensive evaluation going on around this. And I just wanted to let you all know that finally, after 7 months of working with attorneys at IU and CareSource, and IRB, yesterday, the state of Indiana enrolled the very first pregnant woman in Healthy Beginnings at Home. So, we have a mommy, and so the system has been activated. I want to honor the next speaker, so I'm going to hurry up through this. Healthy Beginnings at Home has been hugely successful. The people in Healthy Beginnings at home in Ohio have not suffered any infant mortality. In the control group, there is infant mortality, increased preterm birth, increased low birth weight. The intervention reduces those adverse outcomes as well. It is very important we track the economics of this. It dramatically reduces ER visits. It dramatically reduces NICU stays. It reduces length of stay in hospital, period. This is what the Ohio governor and legislator love so much. It dramatically reduced Medicaid spending in the state of Ohio. And this is why the Ohio governor is assertively put forward to include this as a part of the Medicaid intervention in the state of Ohio. For all of us in public health, it dramatically reduces time in shelters for the women enrolled in the program. We are tracking more outcomes too than Ohio is. We work very closely with the Ohio team based out of Nationwide Children's Hospital. So we collaborate all the time to understand the practice. Really quick, and in honor of the judge that's here, the women in Indiana wanted to add something to this because they wanted to add a health justice piece to this because they said so many women in Indiana don't know their rights around housing and don't know how to navigate the housing system legally. So I partnered with the Indiana Justice Project, and we have now officially rolled out the health justice intervention across Indianapolis. There's 3 components to the health justice intervention. It's for the attorneys in the room and judges. It's a community lawyering approach. It's grounded in the principles of community lawyering. And so we have a legal education piece being rolled out across Indianapolis. There are strategic litigations that go on, and there's legal analysis. And I'm very proud to say that in collaboration with the Notre Dame Law School, we just published our first legal analysis of analyzing Indiana's eviction report card, being guided by the American Bar Association with the issues that need to be considered in eviction rulings. So you can find that on our website and Indiana Bar Association. We are really working, this is, you see what our dreams are. Our dreams are that we eliminate infant mortality for this very vulnerable population and advance the health of the moms and their employment and their financial security and their stabilization, reduce child welfare involvement, reduce recidivism, address health inequities, and reduce the cost to our state. This is our dream of why we want people to support it. It aligns with funding opportunities, funding priorities, deals with maternal and child health, deals with social well-being, deals with housing. Let's embrace this Indiana, that we're innovative. We're only the 2nd state in the union to roll this out. And so I'm very proud about that. I'm very, very proud about that, that only Ohio and Indiana are doing this now. And I'll keep you all up to date on the impact that we have on our women, our babies, and our community. I have the best team in the world. I have I'm very grateful for all the funding from IDOH, from CareSource, from HRSA, Burgeon Health, and beloved Riley Children's Foundation, who's been my biggest supporter ever since being recruited to IU. And all of these wonderful partners from the mayor's office, all these, Kate is a huge collaborator in IDOH, Merchants Affordable Housing, you see all these wonderful people, CareSource Medicaid. And I thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to coming back to you and giving you the updates of how housing will reduce our infant mortality rates in the state of Indiana. So thank you so much.
Certainly.
Thank you for that report. Who was the representative from Notre Dame that you were working with?
It's the Notre Dame Law School. It is our partners on that. I'm so sorry, I don't know the exact name of the professor who leads that, but I can tell you it's the group that leads. Forget, I'm learning all these legal terms. It's the group that leads like the civil proceedings clinic. How the students have the students have a clinic to help with civil cases, right? And so the professor that oversees that is the professor that organized the students to do this report and mentor them with the Indiana Justice Project. And if you know what, if you email me, there's my email up there. I can directly connect you to that. Like I have it in my emails, but I'm sorry, I just don't remember.
I think it's probably Professor Judy Fox. She does a lot of that stuff for Notre Dame.
Judy Fox
does.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions, Dr. Box?
I just want to say congratulations for getting this up and running. I know you've been working so hard on this, and
Thanks,
I'm
Dr.
so glad
Box.
we could be a part of it, even if just a small part. I do want to say that this is what we've been preaching across the state for the past 2.5 years, and that is that we have to meet these social determinants of health, these needs for families in order for them to have a successful and a healthy pregnancy and give that baby the right start that they need in life. And so you're doing this here is really important. Are you localizing this just to the zip codes here in Marion County that you listed?
Well, Dr. Box, that's a great question. Per HRSA's mandate, we have to pick one jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction is Indianapolis.
Okay.
My dream, like in Ohio, is to grow this across Indiana. I've had lovely meetings with the Lieutenant Governor's staff, who is very interested in this, and the leadership of ICH. AGA,
The
like
housing development.
Yeah, and the head of like Office of Rural Development, and so what I would say, Dr. Box, that we're really in discussion about that, of how to make this roll out to a rural community. You know me very well, Dr. Box, and I'm very passionate about this, and I'm assertive about these kind of things. And I really want Indiana to be the first state of the union to do this in a rural community,
Okay.
because I'm very passionate that we cannot forsake moms and babies and families in rural communities.
Mhm.
And Ohio is not doing this in rural communities. They are staying in metropolitan areas. And I really want to work to figure out how to get funding and how to just allow my team, does that make sense, to apply the model into a rural community.
Absolutely. We need to work on that together then.
Let's
I
do it.
Really like that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
let's give it a try. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, so.
Dr. Thurman, I happen to have the perfect rural community that you can be.
For real?
Just saying, I'm on board.
Oh,
I
good.
believe there's one more question.
You provided information just in talking.
Awesome.
Is that all right?
All right.
Let me know about that rural community. Let's talk, okay?
I'll drive you right there.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
If it was perfect, they wouldn't need that service.
Then that's why it's perfect. All right, thank you so much for that presentation. That was amazing. I am going to switch the calendar up just a little bit. And Justice Stephen David, would you like to go ahead and present your juvenile justice and crossfed system?
Sure, good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
I was so excited. I thought I was playing Jeopardy back there because I wanted to hit the button and say, Judy Fox, Judy Fox. I think it's Judy Fox. I don't know, but I was going to wager $200 on Judy Fox. Good morning. I am formerly known as Justice David, now Stephen David, senior judge and working on several other things. But I'm here and honored to be here as chair of the Youth Justice Oversight Committee. Some of you serve on that. Those of you that aren't making eye contact, looking down, and then some other very devoted people behind me. Those of you that work for the state of Indiana in any capacity, since I've returned to semi-private practice, you probably don't realize that there is an addendum to your contract, and all of you are in a no trade clause. So you're forever bound to the state of Indiana. So I just wanted to share that with you, just in case anybody was thinking otherwise. We are making substantial progress, significant progress, nothing short of extraordinary progress with 1359. Back up 25 seconds. Last legislative session. And the passing of 1359 with a charge to come back with specific deliverables and a plan to really take our juvenile justice system, and indeed broader than just those children coming into the system, but to look at a number of different areas that we could do better. And I am honored to chair that. We have a very, very active committee and literally hundreds of people who make up the work groups and the committee, and nothing short of more than thousands of hours have been put into this. Where are we? Our last meeting was May April 12th, and we had and reviewed all of the draft reports from our work groups. They are draft, they're not for publication. Extraordinary work. Our next meeting is May 10th. At that May 10th meeting, we as a committee will be voting on the specific recommendations and turn those into action items. And then we will work on polishing, editing, formatting that report. We'll meet again on June 14th. We have data, screening assessment, transitional services, grants, diversion, behavioral services. Those are our work groups. And then we also have been very, very fortunate to have a group of young people and families that have experienced the juvenile justice system in Indiana, so that every work group has been able to funnel its recommendations and have separate meetings with that group of very engaged, very active young people to share their experiences, what they liked, what they didn't like. And that has flavored the recommendations. And so I think that's a very good thing. It's been an honor to serve with Mark. We miss Julie. We love Mark. So life is great. So that's sort of where we are. What is likely to come out of this, just as a teaser, is a very detailed, definite plan. There is an African proverb that goes something like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to do well, go slowly, go together. And this will be a blueprint. We are trying to identify the priorities, help those that will be taking this report and running with it, identify the resources and have the resources. As far as I know, as of moments ago or earlier today or late last night, the funding request is back in the budget. So sort of like watching tennis, right? Bang, bang. But we're very optimistic. Our motto, our internal discussion has been baby steps. This is the long-term project. This is going to be an ongoing reform effort. We want to make this as easy as possible for the users. We understand that unless this is attractive and message correctly to our judges and our probation officers, that's the key. There's so many people that are critical, but those are the key. And we've had great input from the myriad of individuals who impact on the youth justice system, from prosecutors to probation, child advocates, judicial officers, probation officers, everyone that touches a child before. And again, a lot of what we're doing is trying to expand best practices, institutionalize best practices, and really move Indiana forward. We think we have the foundation with all the collaborative work that has been done, the relationships that have been built, the great work of JDAI and other initiatives to take those and really double, triple, quadruple down on those. I was on a Zoom call 2 days ago with a trial judge and an appellate judge in another state, and we got a little bit off subject because they were lamenting some of the struggles they're having. And so I took the opportunity to say, well, Indiana's doing this, and Indiana's doing this, and Indiana's doing this, and Indiana's doing this. And we can sit down with our legislative friends, our executive friends, and we can problem solve. We've been doing that for years and years, and we're getting better and better at that. And they're like, well, how did you do that? A lot of hard work by a lot of people, a lot of conversations, and a lot of relationship building and maintaining and enhancing. And that's what we've tried our hardest to do in 1359 execution. And that's what we are very confident that we will deliver to you. And I can't say enough about the committee members. Thank you, committee member who is on the commission. But all of you have people that you know and trust that are working very hard on the committee. So I'll try to answer any questions you might have. It's an honor to visit with you. It's lonely in that old folks home. You know, they wheel you out for breakfast, then you got to hang around until noon for lunch. And then, you know, lunch or dinner's at 4:30 and they put you in bed after that. It's all good. Any questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a question.
Yes, sir.
JDAI. I think all of our counties are participating, or I guess, and I know we only have 18 probate courts, right, in the state, but does each county not need to be participating, or I guess I was just curious.
Well, I've been a, JDAI proponent for many, many years and it's worked well. Nobody wanted to mandate that, right? You want people to gravitate towards something that works for them. We have transformed JDAI from its early infancy of, we've got two options, detain or release. Detain or release. Out of abundance of caution, we'll detain. Not a good thing, but no other choices. We've moved that JDAI from that with great success to policing the teen brain. Let's find alternatives. Let's keep children out of the system. And so I think we have at last count 36 counties and probably 80% of the children. Not speaking on behalf of the commission, not speaking on behalf of the Indiana Supreme Court, just Stephen David. 1359 and what we're going to be able to do with 1359, incorporating the best of everything we're doing is going to help turbocharge, supercharge JDAI. JDAI is a process, and it will continue as a process and work with 1359 in our plans. So what we hope to do is to make this so attractive that every county will participate. And we will accomplish all the great things that counties are doing that don't have JDAI, all the great things that counties are doing that have JDAI plus. So it's the timing actually worked out pretty well. And I think everybody will be very pleased with the product. It will not be a thumb drive that we will send out to every judicial officer, every probation officer, every prosecutor, every public defender, and plug it in and all is great. There's still much work to do. But I think this is a collaborative effort that we've really not seen anything like this, even though Indiana does a very, very good job of that collaboration. So, we want the trial judges to say, hey, this is great. This is going to help me and everybody else involved in the system. So we're very excited. Hope you are too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
don't
you,
know
Madam
which
Chair.
I'm more excited about, 1359 or the old folks home, but they're both quite intriguing.
I did a presentation on 1359 the other evening and we had 12 people there. And 8 of them made it all the way through without falling asleep. So I consider that a great success. For the minutes, I note that Commission Member Corey George is not here. I was hoping to catch him before the meeting because I had a tri-bike question. He's my triathlon Ironman coach, and I want to buy a tri-bike for my birthday, but I'm running out of time, and so I just have to reach out to him. So just note that I was disappointed that he wasn't here, so I could get some free advice.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Anyone have questions before he leaves?
Seriously, you all are absolutely wonderful, and it's just an honor to be a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you for your work. Very important. All right, so we're going to switch back up to 3B and Lorraine Conwell from the Villages. Are you ready to present? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I am Lorraine Conwell, and I am the director of the Family Connection Network Kinship Care Program, which is a program through the villages. And before I get started on telling you about an amazing resource that we have for kinship caregivers, I want to show a video of one of our kinship caregivers so that you can hear her lived experience and hear from a kinship caregiver in her authentic voice. So if you go ahead to the, uh-oh. There we are.
My name is Precious Miller. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm taking care of kids. So the next appeal to me, the responsibility because they want to see her always. Mom is the one who take care of our kids, and I do a lot of praying before I ask a prayer. I gotta say they weak. When I say weak, they're unique in and because they have different personalities. And some want to be a baby still, some want to have a helper, a non-helper. You know, I want to a lot of nothing. They could be like they get along good. I can't say that. I keep doing school because I keep on telling education first. Can't get nowhere without education. So kinship caregiver means a lot because you gotta love them, you gotta love them, and be helpful, mindful, just being there. You know, when help is needed, I guess that's what's important. Raising the grandkids and everybody knows they see it as a burden on me. But I try not to look at it that way. You really try to tell me how a lot. Everybody can say that they have, but once your little school closed, they on Christmas. I have a kid every year. All my children.
All right, so for Precious, her story, of course, is not unique. We have several caregivers who are just raising their family members and who are what we call hidden families, who are not a part of, the child welfare system. They've just kind of stepped in to do what's needed. What Precious is doing, of course, is full-time kinship. And like I said, the numbers continue to be staggering that we know about for relatives, raising relatives in the state of Indiana. And the importance, of course, of placing with those relatives continues to be that children are able to maintain their relationship when appropriate with the biological parent, preserves the family culture, values, and the history. It also minimizes trauma for the children, as well as permanency is able to be found much faster when children are placed with family members. For the villages, we have, since our inception, worked very closely and collaborated with several community partners in Marion County to provide supportive services for kinship caregivers who are caring for their children to keep them out of the formal child welfare system. And for 21 years, that has looked like case management, case manager going into the home to find out what does that family need? How do we maintain and stabilize the placement of the children so that they do not end up in care? We do have peer-to-peer support groups, which are held twice a month. We do provide dinner and childcare as well during that time so that families can come in, be a part of a group of their peers who are going through things the same as they are. They really lean on and depend on each other for that. Tutoring, scholarships, as well as assistance for the holidays. We continue to work together in partnership with the Department of Child Services as well as Casely Family Programs in order to figure out and identify what barriers kinship caregivers are facing. We recently met with a large group of kinship caregivers who talked to us and we listened to what they had to say. And so now we are restructuring and getting ready to reconvene in May to go over the things that they have told us, their authentic voices of what it is that they need for us to do. And so the voices of the kin caregivers, of course, they've identified that childcare is a challenge, information not being readily available or easily accessible. They've identified long-term behavioral health, relationship with those birth parents, and of course, financial hardship. As you heard Precious say, she's raising 7 of her grandchildren. So you can imagine, since the majority of the families are already living on one income, some of them have to restructure not only their housing, because to raise a child, you may have been living in a 1-bedroom apartment and now you have your grandchildren, you have to uproot that, move, find affordable housing to accommodate them. But we continue to listen to the caregivers and figure out what it is that they need. So this is a list that they have given us. So for villages, during those support groups that I talked to you about, something that we've heard before, we had the recent support group, was the financial hardship was an extreme issue for them. And so what we've done since January is intense fundraising, is what I like to call it. And that is to be able to provide a financial boost to kinship caregivers who are raising relatives full-time. We have made it super, what I feel is easy for these families to apply for this, but what we're working to do is get the word out about the assistance that we have. This concrete assistance is allowing us to pay rent and or mortgage, utilities, water, gas, electric. We've been able to provide food for families who contact us and say that that's a need, childcare assistance, household items, and extracurricular activities. And that's included a family who needed a stove because their stove went out. That's also included sending a child on a college tour because the caregivers couldn't afford to do so. The application can be found on our website under kinship, and families cannot self-refer themselves. So we are trying to make sure that families are connected with all resources. So it is someone in the community, a community partner, that can be the Department of Child Services. We receive lots of referrals from school social workers and others who are saying, I know that this is a family and they have a need. They fill out that application. We contact them within 48 hours. And from there, we find out which of these things can we assist that family member with. It's a financial boost. It is not ongoing support. We know that sometimes one crisis can send any family spiraling. And so that's why we are doing this boost, which is helping avoid an eviction, avoid disconnection of utility services. And as you can see, this is just January and February of this year. We just started this in January. So for January and February, we saw that 57% of the referrals came from people who were raising their grandchildren. And then there's 29% that were nieces and nephews, 6% is a cousin, 2% siblings, and that other can be a teacher or a neighbor. One of the referrals that we received was from a lady who was living down in Mississippi, and she found when her neighbor passed away that the neighbor requested she be the full-time caregiver for the 2 children that she had adopted, which were her 2 grandchildren. So she, without hesitation, did take those children in, but she moved to Indiana to be closer to her family. But they moved here without the guardianship paperwork, and they moved here without lots of things. But that's something that, well, that's people who fall in that other category, families like hers who There's no blood relationship, but they are still stepping in to care for those children. And for January and February, these numbers will show you what that $34,735.42 was spent on. The majority of the needs that we saw was for housing. And like I said, that was to avoid an eviction or for a family. We assisted them with a deposit to move into a larger home or a safer home. And that gas, electric, the other food, childcare, and extracurricular. And I actually received an updated number as of today, this morning, which is $48,451.29. So our development team continues to extreme fundraise. As I said, we have some amazing private donors and partnerships for funders who truly believe that kinship caregivers are in need of financial assistance that has allowed us to be able to provide this boost for our caregivers. Currently, we are supporting 10 counties, which is Boone, Brown, Hamilton, Hancock, Hendricks, Johnson, Marion, Morgan, Putnam, and Shelby. It is our goal to support any caregiver in need throughout the state. We actually received an unrestricted funding amount that allowed us to assist our first family in Fort Wayne last week, and I'm super excited about that. We are hopeful that this will continue to grow. We know that those families who have stepped in to raise their family members without becoming licensed foster parents do not receive that financial support. And so until that becomes something that we provide as a state, we are looking forward to continuing to raise funds to support these families in this way. Do you have any questions about what we are doing with our KIN program or how we plan to continue? So like I said, we do plan to regroup in May for that Indiana Kinship Care Advisory Committee to discuss the other challenges that our caregivers have identified. And from there, we'll be able to prioritize and see what we need to do next. But the villages did see a more immediate need for those caregivers that are raising relatives without the formal system. And if you know someone, please send them our way. The application, like I said, is really easy. We did not want to create another barrier for the caregivers, but we wanted to make sure they were also connected to other services. Once they come to us and ask for that assistance, we do let them know about the other services we provide in hopes that, if they are in need of additional support, they will continue with us, but we are not making that a barrier. And if they do not need that, and they just need that financial boost, that is what we are providing. Any questions? Yes. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Maria Pinella. I'm the Chief Medical Officer for Evans Sam City University.
Okay.
I'm a pediatrician.
Maria.
Oh, I'm a pediatrician, sorry. So I still do a sliver of clinical time, and I feel like we see these families every week in clinic. They're often grandparents, they're not always grandparents.
Mhm.
Can the healthcare system refer? Would that count as a community partners, or would I need to? What organizations would we count as community partners?
Absolutely. If it's a doctor, if it is anyone in the healthcare profession, who have identified, as you said, families who come in and they are in need of that financial boost, you absolutely can complete that application to refer them. And then, like I said, we will let them know also about our support groups as well as the case management that we provide. And if they're interested in that service, they are eligible for that as well.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Are there any other questions? Well, thank you so much for bringing this to us. What an eye-opening experience. I love the work you're doing.
Well,
That's
thank you. And
amazing.
thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. I look forward to hopefully your return afterwards, saying that you're covering the entire state.
Yes, soon enough. Soon enough. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to skip back down to number 4 and ask that Julia Stevens present at the At-Risk Youth and Family Projects. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Julia Stevens, and I am privileged to be the Senior Staff Attorney for At-Risk Youth and Families at the Indiana Public Defender Council. I'm here today to speak with you about what we're doing for our defenders who are working in child welfare. A little bit about me. I come from 5 years at Marion County Public Defender Agency working exclusively in CHINS and TPR. I took a brief break from that over with the State Public Defender Office and then came to IPDC in September of 2021. In the 2021 budget, we received a line item for at-risk youth and families. So we had to define that. What does that look like? Who are these people? Obviously, they are children who are involved in child in need of services cases, children involved in termination of parental rights cases, families who are almost involved in the system, which we'll talk about later. Bernice Corley, our executive director, established my position when we received this budget item. And my job is to support and train the public defenders across the state who are practicing child welfare law. IPDC knew that this area of law is incredibly niche, right? It's incredibly statute heavy and emotionally heavy. And IPDC knew that we needed to create a community to support these defenders and to continue to educate and train these defenders. I think of this position as my position as a mediator between a lot of different people. I get information from the field, and I'm lucky to have relationships with DCS administration, several of whom I used to work with in the trial courts, have dockets with them, and also to go between DCS and my defenders, right? It's a two-way street of information that we need to be sharing. I always say that my job is such a privilege because I get to fix the systemic issues that I was yelling about in the trial court, right? So it's a really exciting place to be. So just briefly, as background, the position of Indiana public defenders, most public defenders have a contract with the county, and they're appointed by the judges of the cases to the cases. That leaves a lot of our rural county public defenders working in silos. It is definitely the exception to have a shared physical space, and there is a lack of multidisciplinary support. There are hundreds of lawyers working in child welfare who aren't able to share solutions or resources or experiences. And that doesn't just mean the larger agencies like Marion County with 22 attorneys, support staff, and social workers. What I've found in this position is that the attorneys in rural counties have a whole lot to offer us. We get into the larger counties get into a real methodical, this is how we run a case. And I feel like the rural counties say, well, have you tried this kind of motion, or have you tried this kind of, just things that we don't think of. So there's an exchange of information there. We are seeing an increase in multidisciplinary offices. There are system navigators in Monroe County. There's at least one social worker in Vigo County. And the retiring chief, or the now retired chief of Washington County's parting words were hire a social worker. So what are IPDC's resources for child welfare defense attorneys? Many. We have Lunch Bunch, which I'll talk about. We have a fantastic email listserv. We've got incredible continuing legal education going on. We're able to attend and take with us defenders across the state to a lot of really great national conferences. We're building a really, really important community among our defenders, and we got a social worker. So I just wanted to run through quickly the resources that we do offer our defenders. And I hope you see what I see in this, a common thread of education and training and building a community amongst us. Lunch Bunch is a weekly virtual meetup that we have for defenders across from the state. or across the state. It gives everyone a chance to troubleshoot the cases, to exchange motions, to talk about systemic issues, and really build community. A lot of personal relationships have been started in this virtual space. We've also been honored to produce a ton of really, really important continuing legal education. We've been doing regional trainings lately, going to counties and producing one-day intensive trainings of trial skills and appellate advocacy and attorney wellness, which is really important for defenders. We had an incredibly well-attended, I think, half-day continuing legal education on domestic violence and child welfare, where we invited Carrie Hyatt Bennett from the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Vivek Sankaran from the University of Michigan Law School, Rob Wyman from Casey Family Foundation, and Keely Tackett, who was the mother from In Re OG. We've had child advocates, mediators do a 4-part series on alternative dispute resolution and child welfare, including permanency facilitations. That was a really great partnership for them as they kind of rebrand, and for us to get alternative dispute resolution out to more counties. We also had a program about the bias against mothers and child welfare systems, where we had a mother and her adult son with lived experience. Lynn O'Brien Hallstein, the founder of Boston University's Institute for the Study of Motherhood Scholarship, and Dr. Yale Daniele, the founder and director of International Center for Multi-Generational Legacies of Trauma. One of my favorite trainings that we did that was also really well attended was Carla Carter from the Department of Health and Human Services Civil Rights Division spoke to us on substance use disorder and mental health as an ADA issue in these cases, which was news to a lot of folks, and I think is gaining speed. So I was happy to have her and hope to have her again. Another service that we're offering to our defenders are case reviews and research requests. We have a research team, which has always been really well utilized. Since the formation of my position, the increase in research and case reviews for CHINs and TPR cases has increased 41%. So that says that IPDC is getting the word out that we're a resource for these child welfare attorneys. We were at 1 request per 10 days, and now we're at like 1.2 requests per week, which sounds like a low number, but you think that's one attorney getting a case review on one case who has dozens of clients, and they now have this information and they're better armed to represent their clients. We were also able to offer a child welfare intensive workshop. In May of 2020, we produced the first Trial Practice Institute, where we reached 43 attorneys from across the state who joined us for a 4-day trial practice or trial skill training. We also were able to invite the National Association of Counsel for Children to present a 2-day informational session on federal law and then Indiana law. And we also had, we were able to bring Larry Posner on Cross in for a 2-day training, which is just a dream come true. He's so fantastic and really worked with our defenders. He presented half a day and then worked with our defenders one-on-one half a day. This year, we've decided to kind of shake things up. We've learned from what we did last year. We're going to do a smaller trial or fewer days, sorry, and smaller topics. We're really piecing out the things that we've identified in the last year that our defenders need. Our defenders need more information on the DCS policy manual and how that can assist our clients. Our defenders need information on evidence and objections. So we're excited to develop this training more and more and really be able to serve our defenders. One of the things that that IPDC is really tracking is a growing national trend that's referred to as pre-petition work, preventative legal advocacy, pre-filing advocacy. This is legal advocacy that is, but for this issue, DCS is going to file a petition, right? But for a protective order between mom and boyfriend, we're going to file an order. But for an pending eviction, we're going to file a petition. These referrals to the preventative legal advocacy usually come from family resource centers, schools, churches, and DCS family case managers. In New Jersey, Jay Rajaraman founded the Family Representation Program at the Legal Services of New Jersey. The most recent data I could find from her was that in December of 2020, they had received 200 referrals from DCS family case managers, and not one petition was filed with the families that they were involved in. It's another very small niche because you need attorneys who are familiar with the child welfare system, but can also practice family law and know evictions and civil protective orders. But it's definitely something we're keeping on our radar. IPDC was also able to hire a child welfare social worker to work exclusively with our child welfare defenders. He is currently being overseen by a Marion County social worker, and he's working directly with our public defenders across the state. He came from juvenile delinquency placement, I guess, in his previous internship. And it's been really wonderful to have him as a resource, as that has been an issue for several of our defenders since he came. But he's also available to our defenders to help them find community-based services for our clients so that they can they don't need the help of DCS or the coercive intervention of the court. They're more aware of their current community resources. We're also working with DCS and IRACS on a program for parent mentors. This is, again, people with lived experience, which is becoming hugely important in our field, in all fields, but particularly in child welfare. We worked with Rachel Hudgens and her team on the DCS proposal, which I believe they're calling them peer parent care coordinators. There are different names everywhere from state to state, but county to county too. So we worked really closely with her in weekly meetings, formalizing her proposal. I believe right now has presented it or is about to present it to the committee at DCS. And we're really excited to see how that might work out. IRACS is another kind of vein that we're working with for parent mentors. IRACS is the Indiana Reentry and Correctional Support. Currently, they work with anyone who has entered jail, whether it's for 5 hours or 5 months, and they help them with reentry. They identify concrete needs they may have. So they're also peers with lived experience. So it's a natural connection for us. We have a lot of stuff up in the air right now with this, which is wonderful, right? That a lot of people are interested in a program like this. And then IPDC is working very, very hard to stay involved with the greater child welfare community and all of the stakeholders. We're really proud of the relationship that we're building with DCS administration. We're really proud of the relationship that we had with DCS administration to work on the Parent Mentor Program. We've been involved with the National Reunification Month with child advocates and DCS. And we've worked with Strengthening Indiana Families, which is it was in its pilot phase. It was begun by a professor at the Indiana University School of Social Work. which is where we found our intern. So those have been really good experiences for us. Oh, I guess that's my last slide. I thought sent a different version, but so my name is Julia Stevens. You can find me at IPDC anytime. I welcome conversations. I am privileged to say it is my job to have conversations with all of you. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Representative Devon has a
you.
question.
So in 1001, House Bill 1001, I know there's a line item there that would create a pilot program for to possibly eliminate DCS attorneys and kind of outsource the attorneys. And just in the last few days, I've got some emails from magistrates and judges, probate judges, that are a little concerned. And I just didn't know if we need to do a deeper dive on this. Because I know we have CASA, right? But I know Indiana's one of few states that don't have legal access for a lot of these kids. And I think we need to do kind of a deeper dive on this situation before it gets a little crazy. Even though it's a pilot program, but
Representative Devon, I'm so happy you brought it up. We are extremely concerned as well. And would welcome a deeper dive and a deeper conversation. I think will be incredibly disruptive to the counties where it is planned to be piloted. So the judges and magistrates are right to be concerned for sure. We agree.
so I don't know, Senator Ford, he had a symposium last summer. I don't know if anybody was there, and seemed like it was getting some traction, but what's going on in the bill is maybe not what's happened in that symposium. So I think we need to kind of maybe investigate it a little bit more, Senator. So, and I think he was going to meet with Senator Bray today too. So,
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up, but I'm
so
very glad you
sorry.
did. No, absolutely. I'm grateful that you are concerned as well as I, and I think maybe we need to discuss it even further, but go ahead. If you.
Sorry, yes, I did want to make sure, because we talked to Senator Ford about his proposal, and as I understand it and read the line item in the budget, my initial thought was that that was his proposal again, but it's to eliminate the DCS in-house attorneys representing DCS. So those are two totally separate equations. We've had conversations with Senator Ford agreeing that in certain cases, for certain kids, lawyers for those kids will be very, very effective and contribute to it. And finding those right cases is something we're interested in exploring and doing that deeper dive on. But that is a distinct question from what Bernice is talking about. That's the DCS, Terry Stigdon's lawyers representing them in those proceedings that would be removed and privatized.
Exactly right. What Justin said. So sorry, just to be super clear. Yeah, we're concerned about the
And I know
privatization of the attorneys.
Session ends next week. So even if this gets put in, I'll press what I can in the next couple of days, and I think Senator Donato and I will do the same. But Mark, we may need to bring in Terry and I don't know if you want to jump in with this as well. So we just have a better understanding.
I think we're all in agreement. We may need to circle and have a meeting very quickly. And I'm going to ask you to make for us. Our children are at stake. So we did not mean to disregard your presentation.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry. I actually, I was sitting here thinking that I feel like we are down in a hole digging dirt and you all are standing above it and we can't see what we're doing. We're just in the dirt and you all have this great view, which segues us perfectly into number 5. Thank you so much for your presentation. People like a dirt.
All right, so that does segue us well into number 5, looking at some of the legislative items going on. And also the notation of something we've been working on too is how do we, as the commission, make choices to act on legislation, pending items, new items during session. So I think there'll be a good chance at that executive committee meeting to maybe flesh out that process a little bit more. Because those are marching orders for me. And if I don't have them, I don't act without them, of course. So going to items that we have been following directly as the commission, I've got a few things on the list. But I do want to start with two that are not on the list, and Senate Bill 1 and 4. We have multiple commission members, really, if not the entire commission in one form or another, has been working on those. So just a round of applause on all of the tremendous effort on public health and behavioral health around the state, because it has been such an undertaking. I can't imagine how exhausted our advocates are on that. And we're not there yet. But wonderful, wonderful work on both of those sectors. Looking forward to what's to come and what the commission can do to support those going forward too. Okay, a few bills on the list now. I do have Senate Bill 167, and Senator Donato's on the bill along with Senator Rising on FAFSA completion in our schools. So there was a question, and it did come through our educational outcomes group in the past as well, about low FAFSA completion. Parents maybe not understanding the importance of that, getting that done in their right timeline, and just the complication of the process where, having done it with my own son, it's like the longest long form tax that you've ever had to do. So there's a lot to it. So this was really about empowering and creating a standard that our students will given the opportunity to complete the FAFSA. Yes, parents have, of course, the option to waive out of that if they feel it's unnecessary, but that we're presenting everybody with the opportunity to get that FAFSA completed. A small item, but it's a good way to just start that pathway to college, just like how schools try to encourage SAT and ACT completion and everything else. Finance is the main reason a lot of our kids cannot make that forward pathway into college. And we want to make sure that they're aware that there's a lot in place to make sure that's not a day one concern for them. So right now, it looks like that one's just sitting, waiting for signatures on the governor's desk. So that's where we like them to be. And it's going along very smoothly there. Next one on the list, lawful immigrant eligibility, formerly Senate Bill 376. I want to make sure we highlight this one because this was really one that went through full process with the commission, was presented at a subcommittee on health coverage, actually by myself in my now prior life. And then through our subcommittees and task force process, child health and safety vetted that. We vetted it at the full commission, got the endorsement to move forward on what's in that bill, and then had our legislative team here also pick it up and turn it into legislation. And have been doing a lot of work carrying it forward. So really, if we can have a paint by numbers of how we like to see stuff go through, so it's fully vetted and fully prepared before session, it's been a great example of that. So what it does, again, for a reminder, is there is currently a bar for new immigrants that they have to wait a full 5 years before they're eligible for Medicaid or the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP. There is a federal permission that allows that 5-year bar to be waived for pregnant women and children. Most states have already decided to get rid of that bar. Indiana had not done so yet. So 376 was written to remove that restriction. Again, it's lawfully residing, so it is a much more narrow category for some, and they have to be residents as well. So establishing residency and in a lawfully residing category, we're looking at about 6,000 kids, 600 pregnant women that would be impacted. But in a new immigrant group where we've got a lot of frontline workers, a lot of mixed income populations and everything else, folks that really do need to have proper access to healthcare coverage. We had to tell the very sad story of during the pandemic, these were some of the exact people that suddenly became missing from our workforce. And that were in very high risk professions and simply did not have access to healthcare coverage that the rest of the state had more open access to than ever before. And that was a real cautionary tale for the commission to say, hey, we need to take care of that. So that bill moved forward, it moved through almost through both chambers. And then it got assigned to the Public Health Committee, which was very busy with Senate Bills 1 and 4, rightfully so. So we did get that move forward. Now it has been amended by Senator Donato into House Bill 1091. And is going to be going through the conference committee process, but word is that everything will be fine, intact there. 1091, also a good bill, by the way, gets continuous coverage for children in Medicaid and CHIP, which basically the very shorthand, and I'm a recovering lobbyist and a health coverage person, so I'll keep it as short as I can. Instead of doing a lot of minute checks throughout the year on people's eligibility, it's saying there's one annual redetermination for those children. What it does is it keeps their coverage continuous, meaning that they're not having to go on and off the coverage, reshop for a doctor that takes whatever their coverage is now, and can have some level of stability with their care. Of course, very essential for our children. We want to make sure they get to all their developmental screenings and get all the proper care they need, and have the eyes of the pediatrician really helping watch them as they grow through there. So very important. So that's all combined into one lovely bill right now in 1091. And we're seeing that everything looks like it's going to go forward just fine there. My last item on the list, which is always in flux, is the state budget. Tons of stuff in there. I will just go ahead and quickly go line by line. Okay, no, I will not. Okay. A lot of good things in there. Of course, big ones going on there, public health funding, behavioral health funding are both ones that have a lot of negotiation left to go there. We could spend probably the rest of this meeting on that and a few more days after that, just discussing that process. But we do want to point out that there was a line item for the Children's Commission to offer basically a small amount to allow core staffing that most commissions have, myself, probably an administrative assistant, and then a little bit of admin support dollars there for things like our youth engagement summons, things moving forward. That did pass through and was amended into the budget in the House. Got taken out in appropriations, as a lot of times there is kind of a back and forth when something's a new item in the budget. So we're looking in final negotiations, hopefully getting that added right back in there. Again, the number was 350,000, which is a very small amount. Right now, we're having to borrow a lot of staff from our good friends with the Office of Judicial Administration and the Supreme Court. So we're just trying to move a little step further towards the commission having that independent, at least fiscal element to it there as we're continuing to grow and move forward. So that'll be another one that we're watching closely. Do note on the commission webpage, we have a full list that we keep up to date as possible during this time of session when things are changing day by day and minute by minute, which is by no means an exaggeration. There's probably something that's happened in the last 10 minutes that I don't have on there yet, but there is a bill list on there that we try to keep up to date for anybody that's looking at other items or wants to go forward. And I can pause here on that for any questions on those items, or if any other members of the commission have a legislative update that they want to spend a couple of seconds on.
Go ahead.
All right, I guess I'm done pausing, right? I think everybody's a little bit over legislated currently. I understand that. But again, it is something I want to note that there's a lot we want to do with making sure the commission has a good, clean process for how we can support legislation. And what we've learned this year, of course, is stuff that comes up during sessions, so not just marching orders coming from items that passed all the way through the commission, but what do we do to make sure it's appropriately vetted for us to intervene during session? Very important, and we've got a lot that we can do there. So we gotta look at how we want to be properly empowered on that moving forward. Next we have future topics for commission members. Or other items from commission members going on, looking at our next meeting, which will be in June. I have a few things on the list there, but I wanted to first let Stephanie, who's only with us for a little bit longer, very sad, make sure that her item gets covered here as well.
Yes, I talked with Julie, I think it was a couple months ago, because we're supposed to have the new commission members, hopefully if everything works out, come in June. And I was talking about, because we have a lot of new members, and then it will be new youth members doing another youth engagement training, because the new members and then you guys. So I know next meeting, me and someone from Foster Success will be doing that. So.
Right, and we're definitely looking forward to that. Also noting, yeah, we have one more meeting with Stephanie and Dee, so that's sad news, but we're gonna find a way to keep them active and involved. They've actually both reached out and said, hey, we want to make sure we can be, they're helping interview our next youth membership group as well. And we've got a lot of great candidates, so we'll have an update on that as soon as we have made some selections there. So, but I can't acknowledge more the amount of work they've put in and really how important that voice is. So another thing that we're looking at moving forward too is as we look at youth members for the commission, when we look at folks that maybe don't end up being the commission members, where can we put them on a task force? Where can we find a place? Anytime we have youth coming forward that wants to be active in these roles, that's a voice we don't want to lose. We need it desperately. We need it on all of our groups wherever we can have it. So really looking forward to saying, how can we continue moving that and continue making that voice, hopefully, eventually the loudest voice on the commission is what I would like to see.
I've said it before, and I really want to continue to say this. We have other youth groups in other agencies across the state, and I would love to see us kind of unite those groups at certain times to just join together, because that way they don't become siloed in just health or siloed in just children. They become an active group for youth, all aspects of youth advocacy across the state.
Right. And love that approach. And I love the concept of making sure that that's a group that has full ownership of itself and can be moving forward its own recommendations. And unfortunately, we still have a system, right, where sometimes when we have youth in entities that they feel they're just one small voice and maybe not equal seat at the table. We appreciate and we always try to make sure that Stephanie and Dee and whoever we have next are full voices at the table. And as I said, hopefully the loudest voices at the table is what we really want to see, because they're the ones with the real experience and the real knowledge. We're the ones making our best interpretation possible of what they have experienced.
I couldn't agree more. And Dejan, I see that you are online. Thank you so much for joining me even virtually. And I am so impressed with both of your work that I think you have been the most valuable component in this board. So I just want to say thank you to both of you. And I look forward to seeing how you grow in the future. All right. There is one calendar correction. If you did not see it, it is in December. We were going to butt up right next to Christmas and we've got that changed. So we're not. So I just want to make sure that your calendars do get changed. And if there is nothing else, anyone have any questions, any opportunities to speak, hear it now. I think we are at a point where we can adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all
Thanks,
have a
everybody.
wonderful week.